Hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? I hope you are fabulous. Welcome to week 3 of our Soaring Solo topics. We're talking about healing this month, healing from past hurts and past relationships. So single mamas, pay attention. If you don't know what Soaring Solo is, my name is Stacy and I have this Soaring Solo, which is a community of single mothers that are determined to fly above society's expectations and rise above our circumstances so we can set an example for our children. So hopefully if you are soaring solo and you're a single mama, I hope you're joining me on Saturday mornings. And if you know a single mama, I would love for you to tag them or share this video. And I'm just hoping to help people through this interesting thing we call single motherhood. So hopefully this helps. Last week we talked about steps to healing. Okay, so we talked about taking some time off from the dating scene and in order to focus on getting ourselves together and healing and not distracting ourselves with other things. We talked about renewing your mind and thoughts, and we're going to talk about that probably every week because that's such a huge thing and it affects every part of our life. We talked about finding our purpose, our individual purpose, right? We talked about becoming content with who we are and where we're at. Hey, Shannon. We talked about the fact that no other human being can complete you. Hey, Janet. No other human being can complete you, right? So why are we putting so much pressure on our significant others or our potential significant others? Because they can't do it, okay? Don't be so hard on them. Okay, this week we're going to talk about preventing pitfalls, okay? As we begin to heal, we're going to slip, we're going to fail, we're going to do things wrong, but we want to prevent falling in the pit and staying there, right? So we want to set ourselves up for success, basically, right? So how do we do that? We do that by setting boundaries, first of all. And I got to tell you, this is probably not going to be the most popular topic, okay? Because it's hard and some of it seems a little foolish, but it is probably necessary. So I'm going to ask you to use a little self-awareness and don't sabotage yourself by just going, I don't need that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. I want you to think open-mindedly about the boundaries that you set as you begin to heal and you begin to do the things we talked about last time and as you go through this journey. It's really important to set those boundaries ahead before you're in a situation where you have to make a split decision. What do I do? This or that, right? So the first thing I would recommend is set a boundary on what you take in. We talked about the mind. I told you we're going to talk about renewing your mind and taking control of your thoughts and having a disciplined thought life. We're going to talk about that a lot. This is part of that. Setting boundaries includes what are you taking in? What are you reading? What are you watching on TV? What movies are you watching? What music are you listening to? What books are you reading? What people are you talking to? That all plays a part. So I know it seems silly, but I'll tell you one of the things that I kind of chopped off. I'm a music person. Like I sing, I love music. Music is a part of my life, but there was a period of time when I was really careful about not turning on the radio because I have little issue. I really liked sex and I was really trying to be pure, right? And do things the right way this time, not how I did it the last time. And when you're listening to the radio and every song that comes on talks about sex, that's what you're going to think about all the time. So if you're trying to maintain some sort of purity, that's not the way to do it. Don't put it into your head. So I had to cut it off. Okay. Because once those things get into your head, it's no different. I love Eddie Murphy. I think he's the funniest man alive. I do. But I'll tell you what, if I watch Raw, I'm going to be dropping some F-bombs next week. It's what you put in your head. You have to set those boundaries. So think about those things, the TV, the movies, the music, the books. But I want you to especially think about people. You're going to see a lot from me about this right now because this is something I am seriously working on. Who are you listening to? Who are you letting speak into your life? Super important that you're careful about who you let speak into your life. Now, I'm not talking about you need to be nice to everybody. I think it's important. We need to be kind to each other. Lord knows this world could use people to be kind to each other. But you need to be careful who you're letting whisper in your ear. I'm gonna give you a little example. I have two friends, okay? And my one friend, I've never heard this person say a bad thing about anyone. This person has exemplary character and integrity. Never have I seen anything. Okay, I've seen this person make mistakes, but I've seen them take those mistakes and correct them quickly. Okay? Does that make sense? Like exemplary character. This person over here, every time someone walks out of the room, this person yaps about them and says not very nice things. So I'm pretty sure when I walk out of the room, this person's doing the same thing, right? You know, everybody has at least one of those in their life, right? Okay. So this person, yappy person, who talks bad about everybody, said something bad about this person over here with integrity and character. Who are you going to listen to? Do you believe this person or do you believe this person? You have to start discerning who you're letting speak into your life. Because if I would have listened to yappy person over here talk about this person, it could have ruined what I have with this person because of what this person said. You know what I mean? Like, think about who. I know this is getting really confusing, but I don't want to throw some names out there and throw anybody under the bus because it's not cool. But you have to be discerning. Should I be listening to this person? Does this person have character? Does this person have integrity? Who do you trust? Who do you truly trust? Who is in your inner circle? Who are you letting speak into your life? That is so important. And I got to tell you, you got to be especially careful with family because we're stuck with family, right? But not all family is good to let into your inner circle either. So be careful. Just be cautious. Keep those, set those boundaries. Who are you going to listen to and who are you not? Don't put yourself in compromising or potentially compromising positions. So this is another boundary that I've set. And I tell you, I never thought a single thing about this until I volunteered at the church. So way back when Vance was little, I started going back to church and I joined the choir. I was trying to get involved and get my life right. Like I was so screwed up at that point, it wasn't even funny. And our music pastor, Pastor Jason, one of my inner circle for sure. Okay. He and his wife. And he came to me. He knew I wasn't working. So he says, hey, would you volunteer in the office? Okay, why not? A couple hours a week, I can do that. So he's like, okay, meet me such and such a day, and we'll talk about it. Come on over. So I went to the church that day, right? And I come in, and he's waiting right in the lobby in the main area for me, right there. The office is right there. The doors are right there, glass doors, the whole thing, right? And he's like, okay, we're not going to meet in my office. We're going to meet down here. I was going to have Ashley meet with us. Ashley's his wife. I was going to have Ashley meet with us, but she can't be here, so we're just going to meet down here. And I was like, okay. Whatever. That seems strange, but all right. We still meet in your office. Not a big deal. As I get to know him, I find out here's the reason. He will not be in his office alone with someone of the opposite sex. Well, that seemed kind of silly to me. We talked about like society's standards are different than ours, right? And I thought, what the heck? And as he began to explain this, it kind of made sense. He's, you know, if I'm in a room alone with someone of the opposite sex, you can say anything. I can say anything. And you're taking one person's word over another. Those are guardrails. Those are boundaries that need to be set. It made sense. I thought back to how many times in my jobs that my male boss had called me into the office, closed the door, no windows, no nothing, just him and I could have walked out that door and accused him of anything, and he'd have been in deep doo-doo, right? He could accuse me of anything too, right? It goes both ways, but you're putting yourself in an awkward situation. This is the kind of things that I'm talking about. So when you do decide to date, when you do decide to go hang out, maybe you should think about not being alone with someone of the opposite sex. I told you earlier, sex is an issue for most of us, I think, in one way, shape, or form. I'm not going to put myself in a position where that temptation is going to come up. Not to say that I haven't failed there. Okay? I have. But I know what rules I need to keep. And so now it's just a matter of keeping those rules. But if you can set those boundaries ahead of time, it makes it easier when it comes down to it most of the time. Okay, choose where and who you are hanging out with wisely. Here's what I mean. So if you are an alcoholic, you probably shouldn't hang out at the bar. Can I get an amen? Right? There's too much temptation there. It's the same thing. So is there some place that you tend to frequent that will get you in trouble? Stop going there. All right? If you're in debt, and you can't walk into the store without dropping $50, stop going to the store. Okay, I know you need toilet paper. Order it online if you have to and limit yourself. But if you're the kind of person that walks to the store and just starts throwing stuff in your cart and you're in debt and you have a shopping problem, then you probably shouldn't go to the store. Well, it's no different here. So if you're putting yourself in a place that is causing you temptation, or it's causing you to self-sabotage, it's causing you to feel that bitterness and anger, whatever it may be. I talked about self-awareness earlier. You've got to be self-aware. Are you going someplace that you shouldn't be going for whatever reason? And it may be silly. It may seem silly to everybody else, but you know deep down that when you go there, these feelings come up or these actions take place and you probably shouldn't be there, right? So stop it. Find an alternative. Find a way to avoid that. Same thing with who, and I talked about this a little bit earlier. Who are you listening to? Who are you hanging out with? So if these people aren't good for you, if they're not leading you in the direction that you want to go, if they're not the people you want to be, then stop hanging out with them. That doesn't mean you don't have to be, you can still be nice and be friendly. That doesn't mean you have to be close friends. You need to be wise about who you are letting into your life. I can't tell you enough about how important that is. I worked in middle school, and, you see that very obviously there, and you just want to tell these kids, quit hanging out with that kid and you wouldn't get in trouble so much because you're not a bad kid, but you're hanging out with the wrong kids, right? Well, adults are not much better. We are not that much smarter, okay? Most of us have not learned to smile and say, hey, and keep walking when you see that person that you know is going to get you into trouble, okay? So we've got to learn to cut those ties, okay? And say hi and wave from a distance and keep moving, all right? Super important. Let's see, where we at? Whew. Okay, I talked a little bit about self-awareness. I just want to emphasize, know what trips you up. Know what trips you up. Sit back and go, okay, when I've made mistakes, when I've made bad choices, when I've fallen into that pit and I've had trouble digging myself out, what caused it? What was the root cause? Go back and look. We've got to develop some self-awareness. Know what's tripping you up so that you can fix it. So maybe you have something on here that I didn't have. Maybe you're like, well, I can't do this because, whatever, a whole different situation than what I brought up. That's okay. There's lots of things that I didn't bring up. Okay, we could go on for days on this. There's lots of situations. Keep in mind that we like to lie to ourselves too. Sometimes we are our biggest problem. We self-sabotage. How many times have you said, yeah, I know I'm dieting and I probably shouldn't go to the buffet, but I can handle it. No, you can't. Okay. You're chunky and you need to lose weight. You probably shouldn't ought to be going to the buffet. I'm just saying. I'm talking to myself here, so don't be getting offended. I'm not calling you chunky. I know that's my issue. I can't go to the buffet because I can't control myself. Okay. If you can't, this is why those boundaries come in. You have to be self-aware. I have my son's dad, I'll call him out, whatever. He has some addiction issues and he used to always say, I can handle it. I can handle it. I can handle it. If you respond with, I can handle it, you're probably not handling it. Okay. That's all I'll say about that. There's a lot of things you can't handle on your own, especially if you keep putting yourself into the position to be tempted by whatever it is that you're having the problem with. Bottom line, we want to prevent having more regrets, right? It goes back to week 1 where we want things to be different. We want to have healthy relationships. We want to heal. We want to have better for our children. So we want to prevent more regrets in our life. And that's why these things are so important. In fact, next month we are going to talk about what or not next month, sorry, next week, we're going to talk about what a healthy relationship really looks like. I'm curious, what do you think a healthy relationship looks like? Pop those in the comments. What the healthiest relationship you can think of, what does it consist of? Because I got to tell you, when this first was brought up to me, what's a healthy relationship, I really struggled to do more than generalize. So I hope that will help you next week. We're going to talk about that, but I would love to know what you think a truly healthy relationship looks like. Give me that. I would love to know. And then next month, we're launching our Soaring Solo Facebook group for single moms. If you want to be a part of that when it launches, let me know. I'm going to get the group set up. You can ask for an invite as soon as I get the group set up, but you will not be able to enter until we are ready to roll, which will probably be next month. Okay, that's the plan at this point. So let me know, PM me, put it in the comments, whatever, or just hang tight and watch for it. Whatever you want to do. I'm cool. Whatever. In the meantime, you may be soaring solo, but you are not tackling motherhood alone. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend.